Pretty much every single day for the past 18 months or so, I've been waking up at about 5:30 to 6:30 on every single one of those days in order to go and study. Now, people call me all sorts of things for doing this. I get called weird and sad, or maybe disciplined and organised. But the most common thing that I see online about waking up early and studying is that it is very, very impressive. The only thing that I find impressive about people waking up early is how many people actually force themselves against their own body clock in order to fit online trends about waking up at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. In the least scientific way possible, I just don't think it's wise to force yourself against the way your body naturally works. I think everyone should be waking up between maybe 6 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock and no later. So if you wake up at 9 and you feel some sort of pressure to wake up early, just because people say online that wake up early is really good for you, I don't think it's the best idea for you. I simply just happen to fit the online trend about waking up early. My eyes just open before 7 o'clock every single day. No matter what I try, no matter how early or late I go to bed, I will be awake before 7 o'clock. So ultimately the purpose of this video is to show you that you don't need to wake up early to be extremely successful. But the thing that I'll always advocate for is doing your work as soon as you wake up. I just feel like it's really important to make you aware that putting your work first thing in the morning or first thing in your day, will guarantee you the best results possible. You don't have to wake up early to go and do your work first thing in the morning. You can wake up at 9 o'clock, start working at 9:30. That idea of waking up and working straight away will guarantee you the best results because it makes your morning work the most productive work that you'll probably ever do. You don't have food in your body, you are somewhat fresh from waking up, and you can get a little routine in beforehand to make this work as productive as possible. So in the remainder of this video, I'll be showing you what I do the night before I do my work, the small routine when I wake up, and what I do during my work periods to make this work period in the morning as successful as possible. Starting with the night before, there's 3 things that I do every single evening, that no matter what. So I will always have an idea about what work needs doing the next day, and I'll always fill up a water bottle prepared for that morning. It just means that you're already in the mindset that you have something to do first thing in the morning. If you know what you have to do and you've got something ready already for that work in the morning, there's more chance that that work actually gets done. And the other thing I do before I go to sleep, well, right before, is that I read for 15 minutes to half an hour. Reading for me, I've experimented with this. It really helps me to wind down and it helps me sleep properly, uninterrupted through the night. On the days where I don't read and I'm on my phone right before I go to bed, I find myself waking up during the night maybe once or twice. But once you use that 10, 20, 30 minute period before you go to bed just to wind down a little bit, that really helped my sleep quality. I had longer periods of deep sleep and the quality of my sleep was a lot better. It could simply just be some sort of placebo effect that reading helps you to improve your sleep. But it's worked for me, you can try it out. But the only thing I would recommend that you don't do is to go on your phone or have a lot of blue light before you go to bed, because that really does scientifically damage your sleep quality. So you've done all this stuff in the evening, you've prepared the work that you need to do, you've had a bit of water and you've got water for tomorrow, and you've done a bit of reading to ensure your sleep is in the best form possible. What do you do in the morning right before you work? So on most days, I will wake up at around 5:40. My watch alarm is of 5:42. Sometimes I preempt it and I wake up a little bit earlier at 5:30. But what do I do between that period of time to 6 o'clock when I start working? I have a very short routine. I meditate for 10 minutes and I write some stuff in my journal for 5 minutes. Those 2 things take 15 minutes in total, and it's the 2 things that I've kept throughout all of my experimenting with self-improvement habits and self-development tactics. These 2 things have 100% developed how well I think, my mental clarity, even when I'm working by myself with my family. It just helps me think a lot clearer about the things that I want to achieve and the things that I know I'm going to achieve too. So the meditation is fairly simple. You can go find some breathwork YouTube video for your mornings. But what do I journal about? I either do 1 or 2 things. I write about the things I want to achieve, or I write a few things that I'm grateful for. And it doesn't really take long. If you're interested in things gratitude journaling as it's called. All you need to do is write, I am grateful for something for doing this. So let me do one on the spot. I am grateful for the phone I have in front of me, which allows me to record as much content as possible for my YouTube. It can be that simple. The thing you're grateful for and a reason why. And if you do that 3 or 4 times, over time you'll just notice that you think more positively and you're just happier in general. The most common misconception about a routine in the morning is the necessity or the need to have caffeine. So in coffee or tea or whatever. I did a bit of research into this because I was really interested in the effect caffeine has. It doesn't have any effect on your body until about 45 to an hour after you wake up, because those caffeine receptors in your body simply aren't awake yet. So if you're interested in drinking coffee as soon as you wake up or tea or whatever, solely because of the fact it may help you wake up, it has no physiological impact on your body. But maybe if you drink it after an hour or so after waking up, it will help you to wake up even quicker. But by that time, if you've done your work in the morning, you know that you are somewhat alert and somewhat productive at that time. Some of you may struggle with the motivation to go and work straight away. So the game that I play, when I first started at least, was how quickly can I open my blinds as soon as my eyes open? And I think I got up to 8 seconds, and that's my quickest. But I know people who've done it even quicker, and it kind of frustrates me. But waking up and doing a routine, then working, does come with time, and it does take a bit of discipline to get into at first, but as you go on, it'll take less and less discipline because you're just used to that routine. So now we've discussed this little routine. It isn't really that extensive, but it has helped me quite a bit over the past few years. The next thing is the work period. So let's say I wake up at 5:40, little routine, 6 o'clock, and then I'll start working. When I first got introduced to the concept of waking up and studying straight away, the main thing that stood out to me was the person who made the video said, you need to work or study for at least 90 minutes for it to be any worthwhile or any effective at all. I completely disagree. I've found that some days I simply can't be bothered, but I still manage to get 30 to 45 minutes of the important work I need to do in the day. And guess what? It's done and it's not a burden for me later on in the day. So even if you manage to do 15, 20, 30 minutes when you first begin, I don't think that's a problem. And what I want you to understand is that when you progressively overload this, so if you're used to exercise in any way, when you progressively overload things, you can have the capacity to do even more and even more intense work in the future. So if you start up with 15 minutes of work and you think, I'm so tired, I want to go back to bed, and you do go back to bed, maybe the next time you try, you do 20 minutes, you do 30 minutes. You can even extend it up to an hour, 45 minutes. And that's how I started out. I could only do about 35, 40 minutes of work before I had enough. I got sick of it. But over time, over 18 months, I've extended it to 2, 3, and the longest I've done is 3.5 hours before it properly killed me off. It all depends on the task that you have already set out for yourself the evening before. And if that task is long or short, you can allocate a decent amount of time relevant to that task. Doesn't really need me to say, it's kind of common sense. So if you did find this video helpful, I've got a Discord down below in my description, and I'll see you in the next video.